Hello and welcome. Many of us move through life guided by an inner map, a map made of thoughts, assumptions, and expectations. Most of the time, we don't question this map, we simply follow it. But sometimes the map leads us into the same places again and again, into anxiety, self-doubt, hopelessness, or fear. Cognitive behavioral therapy begins with a simple question. What if the problem is not the road, but the map we're using? Most of us move through life with an invisible map in our hands. We rarely notice it. We don't remember drawing it. We simply consult it automatically, especially under stress. This map is made of interpretations. What we believe situations mean, what we assume about other people, what we predict will happen, what we conclude about ourselves. When life feels manageable, the map stays in the background. But when anxiety rises, when depression settles in, when shame sharpens its voice, we start relying on the map more and more, sometimes without realizing that the map itself has become part of the problem. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, begins with a calm but radical proposition. You may not be suffering only because of what happens, but because of how your mind is interpreting what happens. CBT does not claim that reality is harmless. It does not deny pain. It does not promise permanent happiness. It offers something more practical, a method to examine the map, to test it against reality, and to update it when it no longer serves you. Although CBT is often presented as a modern scientific approach, its roots stretch back into philosophy. The Stoic thinker Epictetus famously observed that people are disturbed not by things themselves, but by the views they take of them. That statement could sit at the front of a CBT textbook. What makes CBT distinct is that it transforms this philosophical insight into a structured clinical approach. Identify thoughts, understand how they shape emotion and behavior, test them, change patterns through practice. CBT is the meeting point of two worlds, the world of ideas and interpretation and the world of measurable change in behavior. It tries to bridge meaning and method. CBT proposes that between event and emotion there is a lens. Something happens. Then the mind interprets it. Then emotion follows. In CBT language, we might say, situation to thoughts, to feelings, to behaviors, to consequences. But metaphorically, CBT is saying, your mind is wearing glasses, and the color of the lens shapes what you see. If the lens is tinted with danger, the world feels threatening. If it is tinted with shame, the world feels judgmental. If it is tinted with hopelessness, the world feels pointless. CBT does not accuse people of imagining their pain. It suggests that pain is often intensified by habitual interpretation. And importantly, lenses can be examined. One of the earliest pioneers of cognitive therapy was Albert Ellis, founder of rational emotive behavior therapy. Ellis noticed that many people suffer not only because of what happens, but because of rigid internal rules about what should happen. He saw that distress often grows from, I must succeed. People must treat me fairly. I must be liked. I must not feel anxiety. These musts and shoulds act like strict laws written into the map. When life refuses to obey, the mind responds with anger, shame, panic, or despair. Ellis's contribution was to challenge the hidden absolutism in human thinking. Metaphorically, Ellis helped people realize their inner map had a dictator's handwriting on it. CBT, in this lineage, is partly the art of turning must into prefer and learning that disappointment is not disaster. If Ellis focused on rigid beliefs, Aaron T. Beck, often considered the central founder of modern CBT, focused on something more immediate, automatic thoughts. Beck observed that people with depression and anxiety often experienced rapid, habitual thoughts that felt like facts. Examples: I'm failing. They think I'm stupid. This will go wrong. Nothing will change. These thoughts arrive fast, like reflexes, and they shape mood before the person has time to reflect. Beck also identified common cognitive distortions: catastrophizing, black and white thinking, mind reading, overgeneralizing, discounting the positive. These distortions are like shortcuts on the map that always lead to the same destination. Fear, shame, hopelessness. Beck's genius was to show that thoughts can be noticed, written down, questioned, tested. You do not have to obey your mental reflexes. CBT is not only cognitive, it is also behavioral. This is crucial because many people understand their problems intellectually, yet remain stuck. Insight alone does not always create movement. Behavioral components of CBT include behavioral activation, exposure therapy, skills training, problem solving, experiments in real life, behaviors where therapy becomes embodied. Metaphorically, CBT does not only redraw the map, it asks you to walk a few steps and see what actually happens. A person might believe, if I go outside, I will panic and collapse. CBT doesn't argue forever. It designs a safe experiment, small steps, careful pacing, real observation. Reality becomes data. Data becomes change. CBT's strength lies in its willingness to test assumptions. Many psychological disorders are maintained by avoidance, safety behaviors, rigid narratives. Avoidance keeps fear alive. Rumination keeps despair alive. Safety behaviors prevent new learning. CBT introduces new learning through experience. It is not just positive thinking. It is often the opposite, honest thinking. CBT helps people move from, I feel it, so it must be true, to, I feel it, and I can still examine it. In this way, CBT teaches a kind of mental humility, the recognition that the mind can be persuasive, but not always accurate. While Beck and Ellis are central, CBT is a larger family. Some important contributors include Donald Meichenbaum, who developed cognitive behavioral approaches to stress and introduced ideas like self-instructional training and stress inoculation. Metaphorically, training the mind like preparing a system for pressure. Joseph Wolpe, a major figure in behavioral therapy known for systematic desensitization, metaphorically teaching the nervous system that the alarm can turn off. David Clark and Paul Salkowski's influential in CBT models of panic disorder and health anxiety, emphasizing how interpretation of bodily sensations can create spirals of fear. Marsha Linehan, developer of DBT, which is rooted in CBT but expands it with emotion regulation, distress tolerance, and mindfulness. Metaphorically, CBT as a toolkit, DBT as a toolkit plus an emotional life raft. CBT is not a single invention. It is a growing lineage. CBT is powerful, but not universal. Some suffering is not primarily cognitive. If someone carries developmental trauma, for example, their distress may live in the nervous system. Hypervigilance, dissociation, bodily tension. Their map may not be distorted. It may be the record of real danger from the past. In grief, the pain is not a cognitive error. In oppression, distress may reflect reality, not distortion. In existential crisis, reframing can feel hollow. Metaphorically, sometimes the map is accurate and the terrain is still hard. In these cases, CBT can be helpful as support, but it may not be sufficient as the center of healing. This is where the dialogue with Eastern traditions becomes interesting. Classical CBT often aims to change thought content. Is this belief accurate? Can we replace it with something more realistic? Mindfulness-based approaches ask, can we see thoughts as passing events rather than truths? Both can reduce suffering, but they operate at different levels. CBT updates the map. Mindfulness loosens identification with maps altogether. A mature view does not treat these as competitors. Sometimes you need a better map. Sometimes you need to stop gripping the map so tightly. Modern psychotherapy increasingly moves toward integration. CBT has evolved and diversified. Trauma-informed CBT, mindfulness-integrated CBT, compassion-focused CBT approaches, schema therapy. This evolution reflects a wider maturity. Less ideological certainty, more responsiveness. Instead of asking, which school is right? Many clinicians ask, what helps this person at this time, in this context? That question is more human than any model. CBT teaches that thoughts shape experience. It shows that interpretation is not destiny. It teaches skills that many people never learned. how to pause, how to examine, how to test, how to act differently. But perhaps its deepest lesson is not control. Perhaps its deepest lesson is humility. The recognition that the mind creates maps, and maps can be revised. The goal is not to destroy the map and not to follow it blindly. The goal is to hold it lightly, to walk with awareness, to remain open to new evidence, and to remember that you are more than any single story your mind tells. Are there specific topics you're interested in, or a particular question you'd like answered in your life? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe now and join me on your journey toward more clarity and inner strength.